Where do you even go with that?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
That's how we go.
So, tonight, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse, and that's to watch some 6CS. Otherwise, I'm going to have my boy Turtle over here come over to your place and have a few words. So, Turtle, how you feeling?
It is quite a clashing look we've got going on tonight. Two ends of the fashion spectrum, I'd say, but both nailing it at the same time.
CS casters, man.
Yeah,
nobody's got anything.
We know we're doing. Yeah, man, I'm good. Yeah. I'm feeling strong. Nice long sleep. Lovely Leicester as well. What could be wrong with my life right now?
No, it's perfect, man. You know. If you're at a LAN or a studio or whatever, if you can get more than like 6 hours sleep, you're doing something right.
This is godlike. This is like to have 12 hours is like unheard of. So yeah, pretty good. And we've got an awesome night of CS coming up as well.
Oh yeah.
We've got NiP currently on a 4-0 win streak in 2016.
Some would say they've had an easier time.
Yeah, well,
a little bit of an easy time.
I don't mind that so much. Obviously, they're warming up. We're not sure what to expect from Pick coming in, and obviously Threats joining them. And I'm like a secret NiP fanboy. I think everyone knows that. Like I think everyone, yeah.
Except that I'm supposed to be eternally biased, right?
Yeah.
Because we used to, do NiP Gaming TV. So
yeah, true.
Of course, I never tweet about it. But I actually have, over my heart, a NiP logo tattooed.
Oh, you're one of those guys as well.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. But you'll never see it,
So, NiP going against NaVi, tantalizing proposition. Obviously, this is the real test coming up now. We've had Mousesports, we've had Dignitas, two very good teams, but now this is it. You're coming down to the world-class status now. How do you feel?
On Train as well.
This is the thing, so I actually casted the game between NiP and Dignitas. And on Train, I've never considered that to be an NiP map, at all. It's a map they can play, and it's all right, and they have close games, they have taken Fnatic down to the wire on this map before, but they never seem to win it. They never seem to, it's not a home map for them by any stretch. But when you watch them against Dignitas, right, it seems like they have been doing their homework. A lot of people call them out saying they potentially don't keep up with the meta, they're not actually employing the same sort of strategies that a lot of teams are, but watching them play against Dignitas, their inside executes and the way they're actually approaching the defaults to each round was actually pretty impressive. It wasn't a NiP I've ever seen before. It looks like they're actually, we're actually going to listen to some of the comments this time and maybe take on board some of the criticism we've taken on the desk, for example.
Well, they're right now they're fully in flux, right? They're trying to figure out how to play more of a structured side, and we saw that yesterday on Overpass, right? Where the comment was, well, they keep running the same strat over and over and over when they're taking that mid side on T side, right? The thing is, though, is that's necessary because NiP need to figure out how to play a game where you do have a plan and you are going to keep running that plan, and you need to know how to be able to adjust that plan on the fly because they're so used to playing this style that just relies on individual talent, a la NaVi, a la Fnatic, right? Yeah. Where there's an overarching game plan, but mainly it's every man for himself and just team play. NiP are trying to figure out, okay, we have that. Now we need to figure out that next level, which is to actually have some kind of strategy going into it. And, this is the tactic that we're going to run, and everybody's going to know what everybody's doing, all that sort of stuff, right?
That approach they have, right, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, like you mentioned before, Fnatic obviously rely on a much looser play style. They have a general overarching idea of where they're going with this and what areas they're going to be taking over and where eventually where they may be ending up. Obviously, mid-round calls are very important. That's why Fnatic are so sick of this game. They can actually read the game so well and actually base their calls on the picks they get and adjust accordingly. Obviously, they have the skill to kind of back up anything that goes wrong as well. That's what makes them so good. But teams like NiP, I feel like they can do that, but when things go wrong and necessarily not making the frags or getting the picks they need, if Freiburg's not finding kills, he's having a quiet game, they need the set pieces and the executes to kind of fall back onto, just to kind of get them into a bomb site first. And I've casted games before when they've actually not even got the bomb down on T side. Games on Inferno especially seem to struggle tremendously.
This has always been their Achilles heel, hasn't it? The fact that, they've always lived or died by their entry frags.
Yeah.
If NiP were able to get an entry, it's kind of like how now we're seeing that with Fnatic, where it's like if Wolfmeister gets the entry, 90% of the time they win that round.
Yeah.
They're just so good at closing out the round once they have an advantage. NiP used to be like that. NiP used to have that same style. The thing is, though, if somebody were to tell me now that actually Fnatic, they all exited the womb together. They're like 5 twins. They have that bond where they grew up and they could read each other's minds. And they're just nobody could be closer than this team. To each one to another, right?
Yeah.
I'd believe it.
Yeah,
because
sure.
Fnatic, the buddy system with that team, the ability to play off of each other is unreal. They are just so good. That's why they don't need necessarily these super strats because they're just so good at peeking angles together, at working together, making sure they trade, never losing that advantage, as I said, right? And if they get that entry, they know what to do from there.
Also, we briefly touched on it yesterday, the whole in-game leader vibe as well, holding certain fraggers back. Is this actually can be a very strong fragger? If he's in-game leading, that kind of affects him. And for me, I said it yesterday, if that does affect you, you shouldn't be an in-game leader whatsoever. If he's going to hold you back fragging, you actually feel like it's actually weakening you as your contribution to the team. I feel like that's actually suggest you're maybe not cut out for it. The fact they brought in Threat now, who's apparently, allegedly, going to be doing all the in-game leading. I'm not sure how well that's going to go down. Trying to control the NiP players. I think Natu can testify how difficult that can be, trying to even suggest ideas to them and make them change their minds. And whether this works out will be fantastic. I think Bjorn's got an amazing understanding of the game, and he has that experience, and he knows these players very well. And I hope it does work out for these guys, and they can hopefully relive some of the magic from 2014 and 2013.
I wonder, right? You know, the hope is there, but I suppose when Natu came in, they weren't quite at the bottom of the hole, right? You know, they were still kind of clinging on the side of the wall.
Sure.
You know, they just saw the vast black deep, you know, beneath them, but they could still see the light. And so maybe that's why the players never really, you know, adopted what Natu was saying.
Yeah.
They could still say, you know, if we just try hard enough, we can get up there again, right? Now with Threat, he's got them at the bottom of it, right? So there's nowhere else for NiP to go.
Can't get any deeper.
They can't get any deeper, so there's nowhere else for NiP to go. They need to actually listen to what Threat has to say and give to them here in these matches.
Right then. Well, we're getting into it. The pistol round has begun. Is going to be an NiP starting on the T side here on Train. They have 4 sets of armor and a raid boss on Get Right as well. Freiburg with the single smoke. This normally suggests smoking down lower ramp and just bossing the bomb side. Basically, try and get the bomb down in any scenario. If you win the post-plant situation, that's great. Flamey of the HE grenade as well. You assume he'll be ready for them for the retake. He's actually on the inside bomb side as well. As soon as he spots this, he'll be dropping the airstrike and trying to do a little bit of damage and potentially stop the bomb going down.
Yeah, they're making good use of their USPs here as well, although as I say that, Flamey takes a bullet to the face, so that's going to drop him down low. But still, they're trying to play it exactly this angle. NiP aren't having any of that, though. They're going for the hard counter to this. It's like, you're going to play at the other side of the site? Great, we'll come and find you. We'll take away that range advantage that you have with the USPs. Although, as I say that, Edward hits 2 headshots right off the bat. Guardian follows up with another, and they're getting bogged down a little bit here. Get Right will trade up 1 for 2. But that's now just going to leave Freiburg alone here in a 1v2.
He has some control over this, though. He actually has a decent position. As I say that, they kind of overcommits to that,
nice,
I would
Henry.
say.
Nice.
And it could have worked out, right? If they'd gone down the main tracks there, it could have worked out for him. He was hoping they'd go down, stick together, using the buddy system he mentioned earlier. Then he comes in for the backstab. That would have been cool. Caught out, like I said, overcommitted slightly a little bit too much. But NiP's approach to that round was actually pretty textbook. As soon as you get the bomb down, you're pushing up, like you said, taking the range away and just swarming any CTs that may be in there and trying to get to the connector area and towards spawn before the rotations come in. Unfortunately, Edward stepping in massively there, double headshot at the close range. Didn't really work out too well there. Bomb does go down for NiP, as I mentioned before. With an inside strat like that, you're almost guaranteed the bomb every single time. So it's a pretty low risk to obtain the bomb, and you potentially still have the chance to win the round, obviously. So looking like, do we have a pause?
We had a brief pause there.
Okay.
I think it looks like it was probably a technical issue,
so,
though.
A lot of teams recently, especially yesterday, were actually opting to force up AKs in the second round, and I bring the Tech 9s as well. I feel like NiP are going for more traditional approach here. They'll be going for full AKs next round and hoping that NaVi haven't prepared for it. But you can see 5 rifles. They're expecting a full AK going into this round, kind of make sure they don't drop a single frag here, NaVi, and just make sure they go up toe-to-toe next round. They're not going to risk any SMGs close range here.
No, just straight flash, exactly. A little bit of a dangerous position here for Flamey against P250s like this. If he gets flashed and they come bumming down that ramp, it's going to get nasty for him. He'll be within headshot range, and you run out of bullets so quickly, full spray with that FAMAS. So this is all going to come down to whether he's dead on with his aim to keep him alive, because the reinforcements, they're far away. Seized is all the way over in Link, just now starting to rotate back.
Yeah, so here, lower ramp, he knows he's going up against pretty much Glocks. He can get a couple of kills and fall back. It won't be much chance of them taking him down, but here comes the first phase now. He will be spotted. Doesn't get much for his money, but he gets the intel. And fall back to this Spools area. Flamey likes to play around here, / bomb drain. We'll see C's coming in to back him up as well. And the thing is, NiP don't really have many options here. There's no utility. There's 1 P250, well, 2 P250s and
4 P250s. Come on, Henry.
That's true. Why did I see 2? Is this me waking
I see
up?
a flash. I think that's the important thing here. I see a flash, and that flash is completely useless. All right.
Okay.
Oh, Pyth! He did it again! Pyth killed himself on the ladder!
Actually getting kind of interesting now. Forrest picks up a kill as well. Get Right's going to drop, but it's still a 3-on-2. Forrest with that FAMAS in hand. Guardian rotating in as well. Freiburg just at the PT50, kind of holding on now. They're actually doing some very decent damage here, and Forrest picks up a second as well. It's actually going to get down to the wire, you know. I have no idea how this is working out for NiP, but it's fantastic. Guardian now has got the kit and the M4, but 2 players to find, and he should be actually out of position there. Freiburg does do a little bit of damage, and now comes down to Forrest. Can he finish this one off for the ace?
Yeah, Guardian's got that kit, but he is trying to play it smart. He has no idea where Forrest is, it seems. He's actually thinking he's all the way in the back trains, and that's going to cost him everything. He actually has to back out of here, and Forrest isn't going to let him. Ace on a full eco from Forrest.
That's insane.
All you need is one P250, Henry. That's the lesson that we learned here.
Apparently so. He picks up an ace. He takes down the first player, picks up a Famous. And Forrest, he had an amazing end to 2015. Like, in terms of, like, obviously NiP weren't playing very well, but him as an individual was absolutely fantastic. And he's carrying on this form into 2016 as well. We saw it yesterday, 40 kills versus Mouse Sports, and he's doing it again right now. Picks up an ace in the second round, and that's massive.
I'm sad that, you know, I got a little distracted with Pyth now. You know, Forrest gets that ace, but there's some kind of like weird balance in the world where Pyth, if he comes off that ladder on upper, he's just going to die. Pyth and ladders just don't mix. I think that they should start banning trade in the future just to, you know, try and get around that. Freiberg, speaking of which, he's going to wrap around onto the site and catch out. Actually, he doesn't even get the kill. He'll get the kill on Edward in the end. So nice turnaround here for NiP. Everything going pretty much according to plan, keeping 4 players alive in that anti-eco. And just sticking together as a unit, basically, pushing onto that A site. So, textbook stuff again. Yeah,
that was actual force buy from NaVi as well. They had a scout and they had upgraded pistols and head armor as well. They were going, do you know what? If you're going to do that to us with PT50s, we'll do the same with 5.7s and the scout. But didn't really get much for it. So, NiP know they're in a fantastic position here going forward. Got 3 AKs, a Deagle on Forest, and this the MP7 on Freiberg here. You'd assume they'll be slowing things down right now. They'll just be holding for any aggression coming in from the CTs. It's an inside stack, actually, from them. 4 players towards the B site. And it's just going to be Zeus. I gather some intel here. I actually like this approach from NiP. Obviously, we saw Mouse Sports throwing away a lot of these key rounds and having some very questionable decisions yesterday. But NiP, I'm sure, have disciplined themselves from boot camp here. Every round counts in the E-League. You don't want to throw anything away here.
And I imagine they have threat sitting right behind him. Hopefully, he's got a bat or something. Exactly. Just like somebody peeks, they get smacked upside the head by threat. That should be everything going according to plan. Zeus is trying to take a bit of a battle here. Doesn't have exactly the best firepower for it with the P2000. A couple of headshots would do the trick, though, so we'll see if he actually manages it. But he gets spotted on the train. Flash comes in. And without that Kevlar, he's just going to get nailed by Freiberg with that MP7. Pyth is there to wrap on seized. And just like that, the A side is wide open here for business. NiP rotating that bomb into the site. So now it comes down to NaVi kind of just lurking around, hoping to be able to get lucky here. But so far, it's not really working out for him.
Yeah, very efficient stuff from NiP so far. Inside stack from NaVi obviously not working out. They chose to go towards outside. Found Zeus, who was holding that area by himself, and now it's just poor old Edward with the USB against 5 players and a bomb to find. He won't even have a chance at an exit kill here. To be fair, he might as well try and do something with this. He's not actually saving anything. The only real benefit of staying alive is not giving NiP another $300. That's about it.
Or 6 if it's Freiberg, right?
Oh, yeah, that's
You want
true.
to get away from Freiberg, basically. Die to the other guys, that doesn't matter. But if you give Freiberg an extra 6, it's going to be Forrest on his way out, though. He's got the Deegs. That's the best action. That's actually the best chance, and he nearly does it. Edward, man, he's so scary with the pistols.
Well, then, we go into round number 5 here. The problem is, obviously, the 4 spies come in. Guardian's not going to AWP. The world's best AWPer. This is why normally able to, on the 4 spies, your AWPer won't pick up armor at all. He may not even get an upgraded pistol just to make sure he has the AWP and has something to work with and be a flashbang. But he's going to be going in now with the M4A1 and a smoke and a flash. So big round for NaVi here. No kits as well. You'd assume they'll be looking for some sort of kill, maybe try and push towards Ivy, try and make something happen here. But Forrest, of course, on the AWP straight away, does spot a single player there. But just going to fire off a shot. At least that gives away to NaVi that an AWP is present.
That was really slick there by Zeus. Using the ladder to kind of change up that angle. Had he just run across, he'd have been doomed. Instead, it's going to be Flamey pushing forward. 1-for-1 trade. Not totally on top of that. Seized is nowhere near. Seized was actually close enough perhaps to move up there with Flamey and make that an effective play.
That would have been perfect, right? If he just held lower ramp while he was going for that push, then he could actually get his back when the refrag came in and actually had a chance of doing something with that. Now it goes down to a 4-on-4, which obviously favors NiP considering the buy NaVi have here. They don't really have anything to hold them off now. Not a single smoke, no incendiaries, and no kits. NiP, very good inside execute, as I mentioned before. They use all the Molotovs, all the smokes. Once that goes down, I just don't see how NaVi can actually hold it off. They just have C's now. Has got backup from Edward, but this inside execute, you're going to see this a lot this game, similar. They're really very good at it, NiP now.
50 seconds, yeah. And now, well, NaVi, they kind of have to go for the catch-all approach, 2 on each site. Oh, wow. Unfortunate timing there for C's. He just gets caught out in the open as they push out from upper. Nice shots coming in from Edward. He does manage to get the refrag at least, bring it back to a 3-on-3. But that bomb's going to get planted. And, well, NaVi don't really have much utility to use. They have 2 flashes here to make their lives easier. Whereas NiP, still even a Molotov, 3 flashes, an HE. They have a lot to work with. Forrest is there to take out Guardian. Edward gets caught on the long train. That's Freiberg picking up that kill. And just like that, it's going to be Zeus pressing forward. He gets 2 kills, but he's not able to pull the 180. He's not able to win it for his team, and Pyth just barely enough time there to save the AWP.
That was actually,
we've lost somebody.
That was actually pretty close there by the end by Zeus. Actually, it was quite impressive. Was it Zeus disconnected? Didn't he just get the 3-man spray done and he's just out of the server straight away?
Just like, yeah, no,
I'm done. I didn't win.
I'm done.
Game's over. I'm out of here.
What?
He must have actually like punched his keyboard or something. I don't know.
How does that happen?
Instant disconnect. Hit F10 by mistake. I have no idea. It's a sound problem. So maybe as soon as he died, he's like, "Oh, damn sound! I would have won that."
Must have been the sound. Would have heard Pyth upstairs otherwise.
Well, there we go. NiP with another convincing round. There we did see Flamey pushing towards the inside ramp. Like I said, needed to make something happen there. Just left no utility, no kits. Someone needed to find that man advantage. Unfortunately, went down to the 4-4. Good refrag coming in for NiP. And like I said, simple inside take. Zeus made it interesting towards the end, but ultimately Pyth had him out positioned completely there. And they actually continue here in pretty impeccable style. They're going to have what, like 2.8k for NaVi now. And they can't really justify much more than the pistols once again. Loss bonus will be building up. There will be a maximum after this one, so you'd think the orbs will be coming out, and that's when the game really begins. And we'll see how Forrest can handle himself.
I'm digging this this quad HE buy, though. I'm wondering where they're going to try and put these in.
Normally it's all main entrance. Just straight in there, see what you can do.
There's one. Yeah. There's two. And there's three. All right, they're making it a little bit easier for themselves here, NaVi, but then it just actually doesn't pan out at all.
How much damage they've done there? That's actually pretty good. Like, obviously, one more nade would have actually may have done it, but Flamey now, just the PT50. And maybe we'll get maybe 1 or 2 kills here, depending on who he runs into.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that that smoke goes up. Everybody's so low. Flamey definitely accurate with the pistol, so I mean, that would have been pretty sick, but we'll have to see how it plays out here, because NiP right now, they're roaring ahead. They've got a huge economy as well.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing. A couple of these rounds, they've won with like 4 players alive, so that's really making a difference. They're all sitting around like, you know, between 5,000 and 7,000 pretty much. Now they bump up to over 10.
Yeah, Exist is on almost 12k as well. Like, they're actually high rolling right now. Same story really for NaVi. They're going for the double orb setup, which can be very effective. Like, C's is one of those players that can pick up the AWP. He's definitely not on Guardian's level, but he's more of like a standard turret style orb. He's very good defensively, and they can put him towards the inside bomb site, and he can hold that no problem at all. So this is when it gets interesting, right? This is where we're going to find out, can Forrest go toe-to-toe with the absolute beast from the east, Guardian? He loves this wallbang, man. I'm not sure I'm a fan of all these wallbangs he tries to do. I haven't seen him really land one of them yet. It just seems like you're kind of giving your position away where you're going at the start of the round, and
there we go.
it is up.
And you're right. I mean, it's that turret style right there for C's, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you're going to hit the flicks consistently, which he does, bam, you know, Pyth tries to take that fight. Seized is there to take the man advantage here for NaVi. Nice take on Ali there, though. 3 players showing themselves for NiP, and they're actually just going to take control of this part of the map. Charging forward, get right, taking point. That's not something you expect to say every day.
Well, he's actually in a decent position here. You can see Guardian rotating right in front of him. It doesn't even need Guardian. Apparently, Exist has got the aim to take him down straight up there, and it comes back into a 4-on-4. Edward now, they've got no real position control of Ivy. So this is actually an interesting position for NaVi. How they can react to this and actually get something back.
Now, does it make a difference that Get Right hasn't shown himself? Because Guardian has no idea that Get Right's here. So if Exist were to show himself somewhere else on the map, maybe there's like an extra layer here.
Setup, right?
There's an extra layer here that NiP can play off of. But they do bring it back to a 4-on-4, and NiP have so many nades right now to work with. So great position here from Zeus, though. He's actually close enough to hear that rotation going up into the halls. So a little bit of information here for NaVi to work with. You know, Seized is already rotated over, but then he decides to get greedy. He decides to press forward, and Forrest, he was ready for that.
The thing is, though, like, NaVi just had nothing to work with. Time is ticking away. They could probably feel that full inside execute coming into them. And he thought, well, I need to find something here. And there's very good awareness from Forrest, waiting for any pushes to come in. We come down to the 22nd mark. This is obviously, I'd say, going to be...
They're cutting it really close. Why are they still walking?
This is the thing. I'm trying to work out where they're going with this. Obviously, Garrett's still towards side alley here, looking like the inside execute coming in. But they lose his first frag. They only have 10 seconds to work with.
Yeah, this is really cutting it close. If only there was a single nade, a Molotov, anything like that, it would have been huge. Instead, it will be a successful bomb plant here. Exist catches out Flamey. And just like that, NaVi have to back off. Too much fight here. Yeah, right. Not going to let C's get out of there with the AWP, though. And now this is all on Edward. If Edward can stay alive and somehow get that op, that would have been huge. But full wipe on NaVi. Going for a very expensive strategy as well. The double AWP means that they have to go for a quasi-buy here in this round. If they force up, they're not going to be able to get that op again.
This is the thing, right? You get the double orbs out. That's a full investment across the board. You're only going to have $3,400 coming into the next. And you're absolutely right. It's going to be a quasi-buy coming in this time. And NiP going up 6-1 here, potentially 7. Looking incredibly strong. But the thing is, this is classic NaVi, though, right? We see this time and time again. The way they handle their economy. They love force buying. They love doing unfavorable situations. Even if they get forced themselves, that they don't want to take a full eco on the chin sometimes. They love getting themselves in this position. They can always get out of it. Like, that's absolutely fine. But they always get themselves in difficult positions in that first gun round, especially.
That kind of comes down to the style of the players as well. Like Guardian, right? Guardian just thinks he's so good that he's just like, I will force buy. I don't need the op, right? I'll just go for pistol Kevlar and stop myself from getting that op. But it doesn't matter because when I have the deagle, right, you know, I'll have an impact. And sometimes it works. Most of the times, though, it comes back to bite him. That's also like Starix, Zeus, you know, their style. They do like to get those forces out there, Zeus in particular. Starix is trying to change things up, it seems, on NaVi.
So NiP have got the first pick once again, 5-on-4. Just sticking together. You can see, even if Pipe goes down, he would have had the backup, but the refrag would have been there straight away. So I didn't mind that whatsoever. So they actually come out trumps there as well. It's going to be a 5-on-3. They can bide their time again. They don't need to rush into this situation. They can see how the CTs react to it, go for another full executors, make sure they go in with a 100% success rate here, have nothing lying in wait. But it's going to be all 5 players committed to inside. Actually going to be going in with quite a tactical approach as well. Smoke's going down, and I'm sure some flashbangs going open before they go into the side.
Yeah, they've got the mollies as well. Look at this. Perfect timing to catch Forrest and Guardian. Now he's got an op. This is his moment to shine. Decides to stretch, to still press forward with the Deagle instead of actually going for the AWP. So that's not going to work. But Edward, 3 shots landed, picks off a man at range. That's get right down. And it's going to be Flamey now. Trying to push down here from lower. Exist, he's got nobody watching his back, but he plants safe. Really smart play there from Exist. They had control of that part of the bomb site, so he just guaranteed that they would be able to get that bomb plant down. And now, well, man,
16k on Friday.
So much money on NiP.
This is crazy. That's actually 7 rounds clean in a row for them as well. Double orb setup once again. We did see C's get that inside pick before, so I'll be interested to see how he approaches this again. Will he go for that aggressive play? And this means once you get set up and up around like that, even if you have no one to face, the fact you have that completely locked down, you have an orb set up there, it means you can actually justify 4 players outside and actually lock that down. But inside has been a heavy area of contention, but it's a change of pace this time. Freiberg has made his way out of a main here, and it's definitely a little bit uncomfortable for the CTs once again.
Oh, a little slow there for Freiberg. Not going to get that aim on. So Zeus opens up, and man, they've used so many nades here at NiP. They're just charging out. Pyth is finally going to take down Zeus, but Zeus made it worthwhile, and Guardian catches out Exist. That was at the back of the train towards A main, so it's not looking too healthy here for NiP. This is it. They attempted to change up the pace. They tried to go for the rush, and NaVi were ready and waiting for him. At least they get the bomb plan out of this NiP, so they can try and fall back and exactly play the angles. Forrest is gone. Forrest with the second onto Guardian, and now it gets interesting. Seized is now the last man alive somehow, a 2v4 situation, and NaVi, they've got picked off one after another. Seized is going to try and make this play happen, and he picks up the first one. Instant headshot onto Pyth. He's going to hunt for Forrest as well, but Forrest, he's trying to play for time. He's dancing around the train, and they both miss their shots. Finally, Seized is going to get it, but does he have enough time for the defuse?
I think he's okay.
He's just barely got it seems. Yeah. That extra 5 seconds.
That's it, man.
That extra 5 seconds making all the difference.
That's kind of crazy how he still had time for that. Obviously, a 2-on-1 on train, that's one of the most difficult clutch situations in the game, actually. Like, once the bomb's down on train, there's so many different angles to hide from. Obviously, Forrest with, like, a godlike player. The fact he's got so much awareness as to what's going on. This first kill, Edward just have no idea. And this is the shot that really impressed me. I thought Guardian had him dead to rights there. I thought that was game over. Pyth comes in with the third, and you think that's it. They've won another amazing round there. But it's NaVi that lose 4 players. They're definitely going to be in a horrible situation. The money reset has come in. They're not going to have that loss bonus to rely on now, so they need to make sure they win this round going forward, or it could be a double eco.
Oh yeah, it would be a catastrophe. With only the one man surviving, they just don't have any kind of money to work with, and you can see that in the nades. Yeah. Again, NiP fully kitted out. Of course, they had all the money in the world to go for a full buy. NaVi, they still have to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel here, so it's going to change up how they hold. They have to try and prioritize holding these nades as long as possible. And we're already down to 1:20. So when these this last smoke, basically, they have a couple of incendiaries as well. So we'll see how those come into play.
This is the thing again, NiP really are focused on this inside side. They tried the outside last time, obviously didn't open up so well, but Forrest did bring them back into contention. I think they'll be going for their inside execute once again. Like I said, it's very strong actually. It's very impressive how they've been working on this and how they're able to get the entry flag. It's actually Freiberg who's instrumental in these rounds normally. He can actually open it up very well against Dignitas. We saw it time and time again.
Whoa.
Okay.
Interesting. Flamey not able to pick up a kill on Get Right, who just looked a little slow walking out there, and somehow Pyth finds Seized. Edward with 2 kills. They line up for him. Double headshot for him. And now a 3-on-3 retake scenario here with NiP kind of pinned at the back of the site, so it's not ideal for them. They're going to start feeling the pressure, and there we go. Zeus, he finds Freiberg trying to make it back up into Brown Halls, and it's just down to Get Right and Forrest now. They kind of have an idea of where Get Right's playing from, and this time it's Guardian besting Forrest. Get Right with the lurk through the smoke. Misses the opportunity there to close it out. He might have been able to get the double kill, but he's not able to get the job done on Guardian fast enough.
That's quite an interesting approach actually from NiP going in there. So Get Right, no presence whatsoever, no flashbangs, just jumping down low around. You know what, I'm going to find this kill for him. Like we said, we're not really used to seeing Get Right opening up the map like that. It's normally like he relies on Freiberg or Exist, people going in first. He's actually going in and finding those kills. He's hungry for them, but it was Edward who comes in with the double flag that completely locks it down. It looks like NiP have this completely tied up. There it is on your screen right now. Yeah. That's quite fortunate for him, and maybe a little bit of a blunder from NiP.
It's just like the pistol is the issue. Just like the pistol. He got the 2 kills, the key frags in the pistol that made it possible for his team to win, And just like that, Edward, again, he manages to pull that off.
Well then, and NaVi with a round we said they had to win. They managed to do it and keep the AWP alive as well. But obviously, NiP farmed so much cash in the previous round, so they're absolutely fine. Freiburg making his way out towards main once again, undetected for now, making his way towards the bomb train as well. And no frags coming in just yet, but Edward to open things up. Get right answering back straight away. And this is where it gets interesting with Freiburg's position. They have no idea he's there. And there it is. Comes down to a 3-on-3 with NiP in the driving seat.
Scary situation here, though, for Freiburg. He is kind of pinned down. He has no idea that Seized is upper. So he's waiting to see if Guardian's going to be peeking out here, if he's going to get a target to work with for free. The only issue here is that NiP, they're kind of stuck. They don't have any utility to make their jobs easier. So it does come down to these positions, to this lurk. And this is where NaVi, they really need to show their patience. They need to just sit, hold the angles, and force NiP out into the open where they're going to be able to land easy shots. Because if they go on the hunt, that's going to be a problem. And it looks like Forrest has managed to track down Seized. Guardian catches Exist on a weird angle there. But it doesn't seem like he's still... Well, okay, now he has an idea that Freiburg is close. So he's able to back up and change.
That was a weird shot to Exist. I'm not sure what angle he's holding, but anyway, it's Guardian just doing absolute work here. It was Forrest that needed to find a pick. He got the first one, but Guardian answers back straight away. Finds the 2 frags onto his teammates. We're not done here quite yet. Forrest does have the bomb of 30 seconds to play with. He can find this kill, which I don't think he will. Going to be caught out by the timings there. Flamey is the one to take him down. It goes 7-4 now. NaVi definitely clawing their way back into this. The money's still in a decent position for NiP. They're going for the... it seems they've got 2 options, right? They either go for this fast outside take where they try and get Freiburg in a decent position, or they're going to the inside bomb zone doing a full execution. So obviously it's been working out very well for them so far. After losing the pistol and getting 7 rounds on the board, they're looking incredibly strong right now. But now the gun rounds have started and NaVi have got rolling. It's actually looking pretty promising for them.
And they get that double op back for free. So that's really nice here for NaVi. Attempted shot there by Forrest. He's just barely off. The flash was effective as well. Guardian didn't even pull the trigger there. And now Guardian trying to go for the aggressive alley play. Not going to find anybody there. Zeus is there to back him. I do like that team play between the two in case NiP sent a couple of players over to alley early. Yeah. Zeus would have been there to back up Guardian.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to chuck these more aggressive rounds in every now and then. Just going to go for that first pick. Obviously, Train can be a very execution-based map. If you do find that first pick, that completely locks down one of the tactics they had in mind. So, very justified. Obviously, Guardian didn't find anyone, but he saw there was no one aggressive towards Ivy at least. So, at least he can get something from that. Edward, maybe trying to get in towards main entrance here. For quite a passive position. Going to be Molotovs out for now. And you can see the bomb down towards the inside bomb side again. This looks like NiP trying to work a pick. Got the boost going on as well. And they'll probably go into the execution we've seen time and time again.
That's some really clever stuff, though. Not often that you actually see the back train used like that. It was being used earlier in the last round, or the round before last, rather. But this time, no joy for Forrest, so it is going to be down to NiP here to do it the hard way. They still have some decent nades, but so do NaVi. Not really on the B site, though. Flamey, he's naked. He doesn't have anything. And Edward, neither. And wow, where did Forrest find that kill on Seized?
So Seized was on that turret style on the upper ramp, and Forrest has went for that straight up kill there. Now, with some, well, actually, it's only 30 seconds remaining. It's been interesting to see how NiP go with this. You can see NaVi trying to work it out. They're actually rotating towards outside. I think this is a fake. Edward trying to hunt for information now. Forrest will probably hear it. Oh, okay. He's going for the real sneaky play here, and he's actually going to get the kill as well. Really nice stuff from Edward.
And now with only 10 seconds left, and Edward here to deny the bomb plant. This is never going to happen for NiP. The body block from Pyth, that's well played. At least they get the bomb plant down, but then the retake couldn't be easier there for NaVi.
How many times is Edward going to lock down this inside take? Every single time, apparently. He just goes up towards the ladder. His teammates are ready to towards outside. He finds a kill on towards Forrest, makes the bomb plant really uncomfortable. They can't really get any position from that, and he wins the round for them once again. And it was NiP that got that opening pick once again. They took down Season inside. They had time to play with, and it's just Edward stepping up time and time again. Currently sat on 10 frags, and he's definitely causing a nuisance here for NiP. They do get the bomb down once again, so I think this is probably their last full buy before they will be broken. So we'll see how they approach this going forward. The double op setup still rolling for NaVi here. It's been Seized had a little bit of a difficult time. Seems like Forrest getting the better of him slightly, but change of pace here. Smoke's going directly towards outside pretty much straight away. We'll see how they approach the situation.
Well, last time they tried to go for a change of place and go for that outside take, it didn't really pan out for him. Zeus was the hero of that round for NaVi.
Yeah.
Trading 1 for 2. Not the same start this time around. Flamey does have an impact, and there's Guardian from alley. Picks off Freiburg. No problem at all. Get right will roast Zeus, and Exist has found a kill on Flamey, so somehow they do bring it back to a 3-on-3, but Guardian is having such a huge impact. 2 kills for him. Get right, though, with a triple so far. Brings it back to a 1v2 with Seized all on his own. And where is Seized coming in from? Pop Dog is the play, and he actually catches Get right looking the wrong way. He predicts where Forrest is playing from as well, but Forrest is going to land the shot. Seized looking to the right when he needs to look left, and Forrest, he's there to bring it back for NiP.
Pretty nice play there from NiP, actually. Considering they have got the double orbs and doing the full smoke execute, that is the idea. Let's get the bomb down, make it a post-plant situation. Retaking with the orbs is going to be a difficult task there. C's did what he could with it, but ultimately Forest, like I said, in clutch situations when the bomb's down on outside on train, it's one of the most difficult prospects for a CT to retake. There's so many different angles to consider, and C's was aware of Forest, but unfortunately it was him that takes him down. It's actually affected NaVi heavily. You can see they've gone into this one with the force buy. They've got the AWP, but the rest of the players with 1 in 4 and 3 pistols. This could be a round that's massive for them, but obviously when Guardian has the orb, anything could happen. Let's see what he can bring to the table.
This is crazy. Seeing a full execute, none of the smokes messed up either.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like they are on point right now at NiP, and this is actually an issue that they've had in the past. Players, when it comes down to these sorts of fixed executes where everybody has a different role. All right, we can get more into that later because right now NaVi, they're actually catching out NiP. It's going to be down to GetRight and Forest, the last two, and GetRight's on the lurk. Forest draws attention to himself, but the bomb will be denied. Double kill for GetRight, and Forest from main will take out Flamey. But this is a new NiP.
I told you.
What is going on here? NiP, all of a sudden, they actually have a hard execute, and nobody's messing up any smokes.
This is what I saw against Dignitas. This is why I tweeted out Year of the Ninja. Because if you combine the talent these guys have with actual up-to-date meta executions and actually approaching the game like every other team does, you've got a really interesting proposition in your hands here. Like, this is actually really cool. NiP are currently 9-5 up after losing the pistol against NaVi, and they're looking strong as well. They're looking like they know what they're doing, and they've got an objective every round. There's an idea, and actually making decent mid-round calls as well. The clutches are coming in. Forest is stepping up, and GetRight's having some big impact.
Well, I mean, let's not over-celebrate. There is, there have been a couple rounds where they have been a little bit late on the clock, right? Feeling the pressure with the time.
Sure.
So, but it seems like that's just a kink that needs to get worked out. Because right now they are looking very good at NiP. It's NaVi who are here in the force by pistols, Kevlar, just a handful of nades in the 15th round. So we could be looking at 10-5 here for NiP if they play this correctly, if they take their time and not walk into a trap anywhere.
Well, the trap hasn't really been set. They have 2 players outside, and it's going to be 1 towards Ivy and 1 pushing inside as well. So at least Flamey has gathered this intel. It's going to be an outside play, but he should be taken down here. You can see Pitts ready for him. At least it's actually just a firing squad waiting for him towards Pop Dog there. And now Edward with the max 7 with all to play for, pretty much out of position and out of time here as the rest of the NiP players made their way towards inside. And just CZs in hand, you don't really feel like they've got much control over this situation.
And look at GetRight, man. This guy's 1 step ahead at every point. Easy shot onto Edward. Edward hears all of these footsteps going towards the inner sight. He's like, is somebody left? Is there anybody there waiting for me? The answer is yes. GetRight. Dude, he is the ninja. You don't even see it coming.
Well then, 10-5 on the T side of train.
Okay then.
Now we have a game on our hands.
Now we actually do, because NaVi, they're no slouch when it comes to the T side of train either.
Course.
Different style. They love their defaults. They love to just go for the set plays and look for picks. Just basically make use of Guardian, his crazy ability to find entries with the AWP. I mean, it's still a pretty tall order here. They need 11 rounds.
This is the thing. That's the whole NaVi methodology kind of summarized in one sentence. The fact they're going in, Guardian is the one they're basing their plays around. They're seeing what openings he can find on the map. He's going towards Ivy. He's going towards main entrance. He goes towards inside. If he can find something and open on the map, they'll react accordingly. If they don't, they'll slow it right down. They'll take advantage of that extra 10 seconds they have for the round now, obviously, and they'll go into like a decent outside take and try and get the bomb down in the last minute. So we'll see what they bring to the table. I feel like if NiP get a pistol here and they can get the 3-0, it's going to be really difficult for NaVi to get back into this one. It's actually a pretty interesting approach we'll have going forward. The pistol's going to mean everything for NiP. I'm trying to remember if they brought anything interesting. I think they actually pushed 2 people inside on their pistol last time I saw them. Like, they actually went for an aggressive pistol, went for that, hunting for that first frag. So we'll see whether they do anything special, I would say, and see if they can surprise NaVi here.
Special.
Yeah. Well, I guess like if you know you're going against a very methodical team and you go for 2 players going inside who're trying to hunt out 1 frag, and you go back and you don't find anyone, you get a bit of intel. We see a lot of teams do on Dust 2, for example.
Yeah, it depends on how NaVi approach it, because they are very good at putting 2 players up into brown halls early on for just that kind of push.
Yeah.
Like the ready and waiting, that is like their standard default. So it's a question of whether they employ their standard default here in the pistol, or if they're going to have something else in mind here, just grouping up and running in. It all comes down to what they decide to buy. They do favor the raid boss strategy with Edward, giving him that Tech 9. And maybe Flamey is going to drop it for him. But no, straight Kevlar, apart from C's, who goes utility. Smoke and Molotov.
So it's a smoke and Molotov. That suggests inside play as well. It'll be a very similar approach, I'd imagine. Smoking down lower ramp, and then you have the Molotov when the bomb's down.
Exist didn't buy anything? What happened here? Oh, no, he dropped it for GetRight. He dropped the season.
So you normally have the Molotov when the bomb's down inside. You chuck it off from upper ramp. Wow. And we can see
Look at the strategy, though. Exist, man. He just sacrifices himself. Well, it's nasty. It's nasty in the end. Never mind. They got a little bit too ahead of themselves there, NiP. They chose to go aggressive, and they ran right into the firing squad. Get right with the CZ will find Zeus. Exist trying to put up a fight over here, looking for that headshot. Little does he know, there's a man at his back, and actually Edward flushing a lot of shots. He finally gets the job done. But this is pretty much over for NiP. A 2-on-4 retake when they're already low on HP.
Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about. They went for the Ivy approach that time, like I said, trying to go aggressive and see what they could do with it. Get right, making things happen on the outside bomb side. Bomb will be planted, but he's inside the smoke. He's making this happen. It's going to come down to this kill here. Seas takes him down. It's going to leave Forest in a pretty much unwinnable situation. Has got the kit, but only 5 HP.
And this is just a matter of waiting at this point. He's got the kit, so I guess he waits and hopes that they leave the bomb early. Never going to happen. Guardian will catch him out. I mean, you can understand perhaps why NiP chose to go for the ultra aggression as well, because they had 2 P250s and a CZ on Get Right. Like, they really tried to go for the hard boss tactic where you had Kevlar and P250, so you really look for that fight. You're like, even if you have Kevlar, I can still shred you, with these P250s.
Well then, this is what I was
Whoa.
looking to see. NiP with this kind of advantage on train, I would say this is probably a bad idea going forward. You have like a massive footing into this map. I would say you're definitely the underdogs going forward on train, and you force spot, and especially Forrest as well.
Where's the op?
He's expended all his cash, right? And
does it Exist who's looking to
well, this is the thing.
Eventually?
Exist, for as far as I know, will only ever run an auto sniper. He will very rarely AWP, right?
Very true, very true.
And this is an interesting proposition. Where are they going with this? We'll see, but I would prefer them to take a full eco here, make sure the first gun round comes in. They're playing the percentages game and saying, right, we'd rather win this properly in the gun rounds instead of taking a massive risk like this and potentially dropping 5 because you just won't have anything to play with in that first gun round.
No, this might be a bit of a disappointment. At the same time, you got Freiburg, you got Forrest, you got some guys who are pretty effective with the Deeg, so we got to find out if they can actually land the shots when it comes down to it. Edward going to be setting up that inner push now. He's going to get that smoke down on lower, flash to follow. And this is just a beta response, and this would be perfect for NiP considering the fact that they've got 4 players on this B site ready and waiting for NaVi to get this push going.
Well, Freiberg will be outside by himself, like he said. NaVi with a lot of utility here, just waiting and seeing if they can find anything with it. It's going to be Edward holding that lower round, but Flamey going, and here comes the flashbang. Here's the execute as well.
Yeah, there's the shot, and they're going to miss the first one. Exist. He gets overwhelmed. Pyth is there. Sees that 75 crossfire. Not effective. Pyth will pick up 2 kills, but that's not good enough. 2 of the players for NiP, no impact whatsoever. And now, well, there's the step forward here from Forrest on high. He sets it up for Freiburg to come into it, but then Zeus trades, and Sees is there to pick up the final kill on Freiburg. If Exist or Get Right pick up a kill, we might be looking at NiP actually winning that force. But unfortunately, Exist just not able to land a shot. I'm surprised that Get Right as well just wasn't able to do anything there.
It's obviously very difficult. You've got so much going on. You're not sure if you're being shot from all angles. You've got the upper platform to look at, lower ramp. They did have a decent crossfire, but like I said, no one really making it work for themselves. But PD50's coming now. This is pretty much a throwaway round. It'd be an absolute nightmare if NaVi were to drop this one, but there we go then. NaVi definitely setting themselves up for a successful gun round here as well. You can see them keeping the SMGs, just trying to farm some cash here, but it's actually Pyth who opens up the fracking here with the kill onto Flamey, bringing to the 5-on-4, but there it is, answered straight away.
Decides to take the fight. And once he got that peek on the Seas, might have been better to back off there. Unfortunately, now the advantage is here for NaVi, and they're out on that A side already, just waiting for the rotations to come through. Get Right was stomping around up in White Halls, Brown Halls, so Zeus knows that to expect somebody from Pop Dog, there's not going to be any element of surprise for him there. Freiburg, long range, though. Well, no, not long range. In connector is actually going to be able to pick up Guardian. But now it comes down to whether Get Right can actually have some kind of surprise element here to work with. Edward is fairly low, and he's looking the wrong way, but then he's got Zeus there to watch his back. So this should be effective here for NaVi. They shouldn't be in any risk of them losing this situation.
Well, this is a 4-on-3, but like you said, yeah, they don't have a kit. They don't really have much to work with, but all of a sudden, though, Forrest does find the kill onto C. Zeus does take down Get Right, but it's getting a little bit uncomfortable here. It does go down to the 2-on-2. The bomb will be exploding here, but it's going to be an expensive round, that's for sure. And Exist does take down 1. But Diffuse is actually coming in, Could have, went down to 3 seconds?
If Exist, well, Edward's going to die. Oh, wow, Edward just barely lives.
And the kills they've actually got, they actually have got enough for an AWP here. So the kills they did find on those 2nd and 3rd rounds, at least, I was about to say they could have got an AWP from there. Forrest does have enough by nothing else but AWP.
Get the glass cannon.
Surely. There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Sometimes you just have to...
You got to go beast mode.
Yeah.
You just got to make it happen. That was far too close. Much closer than I thought it could ever get. But now we have the setup here for NiP. They've got the AWP Force just playing Guardian's favorite position over here by Ali, looking into A main, just hoping for somebody to peek. A little bit of a flash there just to distract things here from NaVi as they set up. And against NaVi, this isn't exactly their standard default kind of setup initially. They usually like to send somebody over by Ali. Right now, instead, they're kind of focusing for either a quick explosion out onto the A side or if they find anything here on B, they can rotate here very quickly as well.
Well, right now, this is going to be classic NaVi play. Just bleed out the CT for as long as you possibly can. They know they're up against it in terms of the money. And there's actually a shot of the get right there. I don't think he knows where that came from. It's actually a little wall bang from the lower ramp from Guardian. That's actually pretty nuts. But gets him down to 42 HP. And like I said, bleed out the CTs now. They've got no smokes to play over. It's just an incendiary onto get right. The rest of the guys just one flashbang. It's not really enough to hold off a full execute. And this looks like it's about to come in as well.
Yeah, it is. Nice timing as the flashes start to come in. Get right is going to be able to throw that down. And Get right with the pop. Very effective, but unfortunately he's behind Flamey. Instead it's going to be down to take off C's, and he does actually hit the instant headshot. They're trying to wrap back around. They're trying to change things up here, NaVi, and head back out onto this A site, but it's not effective. Freiburg is there to shut down Zeus. And it's Flamey and Guardian, the last two alive. Now just Guardian in a 1v4. What happened to NaVi? They get wiped out. They don't fully commit to the B site. Then they try to wrap back around to A, but every which way they go, they're running into bullets.
It's kind of like the bait and switch tactic, right? So they're smoking that lower ramp, they're doing all the presence there, and everyone's getting back towards Pop Dog and getting it towards the outside. They're hoping that they find the rotations going towards the inside side, and obviously the guys going in towards inside need to find at least one kill just to sell that fake a little bit more. And the idea is they find a kill and they push up towards connector and they pincer the bomb side in that fashion. But Get right with really nice positional control there. He actually gets a kill after getting legged at the beginning of the round with the P90, and now just Guardian surviving with the AWP. That is a problem though. Going forward, we know what that man's capable of.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's only got the 1,500 because he gets no money at the end of the round for surviving on T side. But the rest of his team, it's not much better. They're kind of in an awkward spot, but it doesn't look like that's going to stop NaVi. They're going to go for the force buy here.
Of course. What else?
What else? I mean, the obvious choice, Galil. I mean, they've got a variety at least. They're not repeating any kind of weaponry here.
Something to take away from this round. But like I said, Guardian, the master of train. He's going to be going towards Ivy this time, going for that straight-up face. No AWP actually for an IP, so they're going to be going for full rifles. So they're going to be aware of the situation. They know he saved an AWP and probably be playing a very passive mentality, making sure he doesn't have anything to work with.
What's the setup here for Guardian? What is this play here? Because he was lining it up. So he might have some kind of shot that goes through. Yeah, it's a wallbang shot. All right, that's clever. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. Exist going down to 51 HP. He's done that, he did that inside round before. Now he's done it to Exist, the exact same thing, like little tricks he's got up his sleeve.
You're right, man. Master of Train, though. He does that from A main as well. He has a wallbang that he likes to use into connector, Guardian. I mean, yeah, this is top-notch stuff that we're seeing here on this map. But NiP, at least on their CT side now, they've managed to bop NaVi on the nose. And it's going to be up to NaVi now with this force buy to make something happen. So after going for their tried and true standard default kind of setup here initially at the T side, with Flamey holding in main, Guardian and seized over about Alley, now they're going to start wrapping back over here towards the Brown Halls, it looks like. With 45 seconds left, this is going to turn into a B hit. Yeah, and they have something to play with as well. They've got 3 smokes and Molotovs. It's going to come down to whether they can get Guardian down lower ramp to open this things up. Let's get right to hold them off with Forest as well, though. And Get right, he's got that incendiary. No, just a flash, and that's going to buy enough. It's perfectly timed. Catches out the one. He gets the spray onto Flamey as well, making him dance. And Get right, 3rd kill. Runs out of bullets, and that gives him up to Guardian. But regardless, it's a perfect hold on that inner sight.
Absolutely. It's really good timing and facing at the opportune moments as well. Get right. Just dodging and weaving, causing chaos on the lower ramp there. You can see it wasn't that much of a challenge for me. He wasn't smoked out at all, that situation. They were actually banking on Guardian coming down the lower ramp and finding that first frag. If he doesn't do that, though, and he gets taken down, it's just an absolute bloodbath in that area. And this is where it gets interesting, Zemla, because NaVi's money's been completely destroyed now. Can't even justify a single item or weapon purchased. Full Glocks across the board. And NiP looking to get their 13th round here.
Oh, no. What's up, Flamey?
Welcome to the round.
Oh, that's so frustrating. And Exist will get the shot through. C's is still waiting around as well. He manages to dodge the nade damage at least, but not the bullets. Exist, dude, he's just... No, I'm not even going to make that joke. We're not going to start a witch hunt. So, doing his thing.
Just doing his thing.
And Edward, Zeus, and Guardian are the last 3 alive here for NaVi, and eventually they might find their way out onto a site. Only problem is the defense. It's set up here on the inner site. There's no reason for them to be taking any risks.
Absolutely. At this point, it's just trying to end the round as quickly as possible. Obviously, Forrest up against a Glock and upper ramp. It's not really a high-risk maneuver going up against him. He will take down Zeus, has the bomb as well. And now Edward, 5-on-1, Glock in hand, no bomb. I'm believing.
You're a believer?
Yeah, I think he can do this.
I mean, dude, guy just has an impact every time he has a pistol, right? So,
yeah, this is it. That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, anything is possible. Should be growing out that beard as well. Haven't seen Edward in a while, but eventually. Forrest, not going to let him grow it anymore, though. 3 kills for Forrest in this anti-eco, and it's going to be a 13-8 scoreline here. NaVi now, with their backs to the wall, this is it, their moment. If they lose this round, that's pretty much curtains, so It's all up to NaVi now.
If they lose this round, it's a full investment. Then you get $2,100 into the next. And NiP at 14 rounds, it's do or die right here. They need to make this round work for them. Get a couple in a row, in fact, just kind of break the economy of NiP. Get some breathing room here, but let's see how they approach it. The AWP is back out on Guardian. They have got a relatively good buy. More wall banks coming in. Not Anvil to land anything this time, but it's pretty close to be fair.
This is nasty, man. Like, I'm just waiting for one of these days where it actually lines up. You know, this is like cash, you know, kind of wall bang, CT side, T side. Chris J was famous for that sort of stuff. Edward decides to take the fight straight up with Pyth, and he wins it, but then he dies to freiberg's Molotov. So fair trade so far, at least. NaVi still coming out with just a bit of an edge, and Guardian will take out Forest. That was all the way at the back line, it looks like.
Yes, it was. Well then, man advantage is exactly what NaVi needed. freiberg, get right and exist, remain. No presence towards the inside bomb site whatsoever. They're going to be fully committing towards outside here. And Zeus, he's actually towards that area as well. If he gets any sort of vision towards inside, this could be so detrimental to NiP. They need to be getting something out of this. Someone needs to be pushing. Is he get right? Sniffing out Pop Dog right now. They have no idea what's going on. This is classic NaVi. They're waiting for the CTs to make the mistake.
No, unfortunately for Get Right. I mean, there is nobody watching the top of Pop Dog, but Zeus is starting to wrap back around here, and it will be an A play after all. So it's going to be coming down to that fight between Zeus and Get Right eventually, as Seized clears out freiberg from top of Green Train. So the push begins. Exist has been effectively smoked off. He has no idea if there's anybody coming through alley, but Get Right wins the duel versus Zeus, only to fall to Flamey. And it is just going to be Exist now in a 1v3. He's a bit better equipped than Edward was in the last round, so there's always something that can happen. And he drops a bomb carrier, so now the pressure is on here. 25 seconds left here for NaVi to get this bomb down. And at least they know where Exist is playing from. They've got him boxed in.
Yeah, he can't really do it. They've got a smoke as well, Guardian. He can drop that any second. As soon as the bomb planted, drop that smoke down. That should be around over that stage. I'm not really sure what Exist options are here. He knows he's up against it. He has got the kit though, so maybe trying to suggest that he's going back towards T main or something like that. And as he did go for the full-on face hit, but Guardian takes him down. And there it is. That's the round NaVi needed. Just slowing it right down, working the picks at the start there. Guardian takes down Forest, and that just opens up the map for them. They just make sure they bide their time, see what the CT reaction is. We saw the CTs just completely leave the the inside bomb side open, sorry. And from that point, it was just a matter of time before they were finding kills and facing them from the CT point of view.
Everything changes if Guardian doesn't get killed on Green Train immediately by Seized, I think. That's the main thing. He was kind of the linchpin in that defense. It just didn't really pan out. This time around, though, I mean, NiP, it's pretty much the story of this map. They've had so much money the entire time, so they can go for the full buy here, no problem at all. Everybody's got what they need, and it's all NaVi now. And NaVi going back to the default, although this time around, Guardian, he's not positioned over an alley, he's not in main. Instead, he's up in Brown Halls, looking to see if somebody's going to try and go for an aggressive push from upper on the inner site.
Well, this is the thing. Forrest obviously back on the AWP himself. He's actually gone for more of a shotgun style play, quite close towards main entrance. He's trying to find out if he can get that kill onto Guardian as he's rotating in, but like he said, he's towards Inter for now. Seized towards Ivy, just trying to find a pick. If Exist takes a shot there, he's got Flamey, and he's kind of stacked up, ready for that shot. And so far, nothing really to report for NaVi. Py's trying to get into intel here, pushing in towards the main entrance. Actually, we'll have someone close by as well. That's going to be Edward on the other side. He's just going to be biding his time here. They're right next to each other, just seeing who will crack first.
Yeah, Pyth, he just needs to play it patiently at this point. Now he's got the angle.
Yeah.
It's if he decides to push in where life gets easy for Edward. Yeah, exactly. Well done by Pyth. He survives, forces Edward back. Could have got the kill, but still, him staying alive is now a real thorn in NaVi's side. They are going to just try and commit, though. NaVi just pressing forward through alley. Big spray coming in here from Exist, holding his own, shuts down Flamey, and Seized. Well, Seized is going to be able to catch Exist reloading. No matter the air control there, you're not going to get it.
I was about to say it's difficult for him to go straight away, but comes in and gets the refrag regardless, and now it's opening up outside. NiP coming back into this. It's going to come down to a 2-on-1. Very low HP for the last remaining NaVi player. It's going to be Edward with the AWP. Up against freiberg now. Bomb is down as well. There's only 10 seconds remaining, but somehow Edward comes out on top in that situation. That's crazy. I thought freiberg had that for days.
I did too, for a second there.
They get themselves so many decent exchanges going on.
I'm wondering. I think that was a little chaotic on NiP's side as well, because we're like, where was the communication? Did Exist communicate that Seized was in the back line? Because it looked like the guys who were playing bomb site got caught in the back unawares.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, you're right.
And then freiberg, yeah, it doesn't seem like he was aware that he just didn't have, like, if he just sat and hid behind that bomb site, Edward didn't have the time to come and get him.
Do you know what? That would have been a massive round here, but they're going to be on eco this time. Guardian just coming out towards main entrance, finds that first kill onto Forest. We have got freiberg towards E-Box, but Pyth with a lovely shot with the Desert Eagle there. Does take down Guardian, but Edward coming in emphatically from Pop Dog here and just opening things back up again. Double kill once more. He's had a very strong game here. A very influential round. He comes back and delivers the goods.
Pyth really trying to make it work there, but Not going to happen for him. Exist is now here. He has actually gone for the P250 and Kevlar. He had enough money to go for that. But there isn't a target for him to work with, unfortunately for him. So he might eventually make his way back around to A main, see if he can't get some kind of backstab going. But for now, at least, this should be a situation that NaVi are in full control of. There isn't a whole lot that he can do.
Indeed. P250 in hand for Exist has got the head armor, interesting enough. Not really sure why he'd purchased that up against AKs, but each their own.
Sometimes, you know, it's just
a bit of confidence.
Maybe he's like, you know, an old Golua or something. You know, he's afraid that the sky's going to fall on his head.
Okay.
So you got to wear that helmet outside.
Well, judging by their money and what they'll get next round, they will be able to have a relatively decent buy. Forest has got 3,100 right now. So he will be able to get the AWP, but we'll see what they can bring to the table. It's been a lot of clutch situations here. That round with Freiburg as well, that would have been enough to probably actually win the game for them, because they're actually been in a full reset coming in for NaVi at that point, and NiP at 14 rounds. I think that might have been it. And here comes the cash now. Forest once again. AWP has been pretty impressive so far in terms of the picks he's been able to get, especially on the T side, but let's see what Guardian can bring to the table. I assume he's going to be getting the AWP as well.
Yeah, he had it. I think he just dropped an AK for somebody. So, I mean, no, not even. He just went full nades. Still, for him, he's been really effective. I mean, at least last round they were very aggressive, NiP, so Guardian got that opening kill, and he had success last round, so he's going to try and go and make it happen again here in A main. So far, though, the angle is not going to work out for him. It doesn't look like NiP are interested in lining up and making it easy, so...
They've got a pretty weak buy here as well. They've got a Famous on pit and Get Right on the P90. Obviously, he can do wondrous things towards that inside bomb side. It takes a lot of close range, ducking and weaving, but he can definitely find kills with it. Backed up by Forest as well towards inside, so kind of banking on that area this time.
That is one thing that NiP haven't really tried to do, though. Get aggressive in brown halls.
Yeah, you're right. That can be something that would be very effective to find that first pick.
But it's also NaVi are very good at clearing out brown halls. This is something that they do almost every round. Just put two guys up here and wait and see. If anybody's going to come and say hello, then it's going to be a bit of a problem, right? But NiP, it is a bit of a shame that they haven't even tried. They haven't even seen if that could be effective, if they could pick somebody there.
There we go, then. It's going to be an outside execution, at least from the setup we can see so far. Smokes will be thrown all over the outside area, and this could be a little bit of a problem for NiP. They have got incendiaries to hold them off for some time, but they've got the weaponry to do so.
Yeah, the full A smoke, and already Pyth might be getting a bit toasty there. The Molotov might force him out into the open. He is taking just a little bit of damage, but he manages to dodge back. Majority of the damage is going to be going the way of waiting for it. Nobody actually sees anybody. And finally, Pyth is able to get out of there. He gets dropped down to 14, though. Great leg shot coming in from Guardian. But now they're in a bit of a standoff.
Yeah.
All 5 players alive for NaVi, holding all the different angles. And, well, NiP, this is it. Their moment. They have to hit the shots. And Pyth is going to start off strong, taking out Flamey. Forrest trades effectively, but now Guardian is still alive on blue trade. And Guardian, will he be able to actually get this done? Forrest with his second kill. And it's on Edward and Guardian now to hold the line. Nice shot from Edward, and now Guardian, he moves up onto the site, putting on that pressure, and it's all on Pyth, who comes through, picks up one, but not the last.
Wow.
That was chaos for a moment there, man. 5v5 retake, that's a nightmare.
Do you know how much of a dream setup that is for NaVi, though? Getting the bomb down before a kill's even exchanged. That's just like textbook Counter-Strike. If you're managing to do that, like, you've played the round perfectly at that point.
They hadn't even seen anybody.
Exactly. Like, that's just like a dream setup for them going forward. And the fact that NiP actually made that so close is pretty impressive. That retake, like I said, I keep saying it time and time, it's one of the hardest retakes in the game right now. And they made it work for themselves. Come down to the one-on-one, but Viper just like, what, 12 HP, and Guardian knowing exactly where he was, didn't really have much to work with. And now we go for another eco here from NiP. Looking like they'll be stacking towards inside, but outside, actually doing the full rotations here. Get Right can hear the footsteps, he's calling them in. NaVi going pretty quickly here. It's going to be Get Right to open it up, but quickly responded by NaVi.
Yeah, unfortunately for Get Right, he isn't able to capitalize on that. Good flank coming in here from Forrest, but again, he's the last man alive, and Guardian spots him, but Zeus will get the kill. So at least they managed to get 2 kills on the board here in NiP, but that's not really what's going to matter. Like, NaVi shouldn't be too concerned. So long as they have the money to full buy, it doesn't really matter like how many people are surviving here. I mean, I do appreciate NaVi, though. Like, okay, we could try and change up the pace in a gun round and go aggro, but no, we'll do it when they actually save. This
is the thing, right? They're just trying to hinge a bet, see what's going on, and now they've got to maximum loss benefits. That's actually 5 in a row for NiP here, so getting a little bit uncomfortable. We hit 13-13. We said NaVi were going to be so strong on their T side, and they're proving that so far. Forrest back on towards the AWP. He's going to be outside this time instead of inside, and it's looking like actually a faster inside approach from NaVi. Guardian once again looking towards lower round, waiting for that smoke to dissipate, seeing if he can work with it. And Forrest is being called back over towards inside, so it'll be an equal setup here, and it's going to be smoke setup. So NaVi are definitely not changing up the pace a little bit in the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, I am appreciating it, seeing a little bit of variety in their play. They're legendary for just doing the same thing over and over again. So to actually see, them change it up here a little bit, keep NiP guessing, that is really refreshing. That's what allows for NaVi basically to just continue to control the momentum here. They finally got it, and they're not going to let go. And now the push comes in here onto the B site. Nades are going in, trying to chip down NaVi, make the retake easier, and GetRight just goes charging through. But guess what? Nobody's there. They're already past him. He catches out Seized from on high. Flamey, however, will strike down. And it is going to be a 4-on-3 retake now for NiP. Not looking too healthy for him.
They had 2 players towards the inside, the outside entrance as well. I thought they were going to come in for the full pincer, but it's going to be a 3-on-3. They have got kits, but Guardian is set up, poised and ready, takes down Freiberg, gets a double as well, and that's going to secure the round. This is getting a bit scary now for NiP. Didn't really get much for it. GetRight trying to push through the smoke. And like you said, just couldn't find anything from it. Like, he's had to commit so much into open space to find 1 kill. Gets taken down straight away. The response comes in so quickly from NaVi there, and the round falls apart. As soon as Guardians get set up on lower ramp, watching for people come a connector, they were just done for at that point.
That's just a nightmare situation for GetRight, though. Just a little unfortunate, right? Because the guy's dropping 27 frags already. Yeah. So already a full turnaround from what we saw yesterday. But another situation could be like, oh, yeah, he goes through that smoke and he runs into 3 people and just, sprays them all down. So just the fact that nobody is there for him to really pounce on, that's got to be so frustrating.
Yeah, I actually liked his play there. It's actually quite surprising, pushing for the smoke, making things happen, but unable to make it work. So we go into round number 13 here of the second half. Currently 6 rounds in a row for NaVi, and they definitely have the advantage going forward in terms of the gunpowder as well. We can see an MP7, Famises, 1 kit, 1 smoke remaining.
Yeah, no.
I feel like this might be done at this stage.
And you got to like it. I mean, NaVi, now they realize, okay, they're not going to have anything. So guess what? We just go back to default and wait and sit.
Yep.
Make them use the nades.
Whatever they do have is going to be used up pretty quickly.
Interstack coming in here, though, for NiP. So this is one variation. We haven't really seen this yet so far. They have stacked outside, but Interstack, and then it's actually going to be Forrest getting caught. And this is a nightmare for NiP. Forrest, he really needed to come through, but he doesn't do a single point of damage to his aggressor.
And once again, they find 1 pick, move on, and somehow Edward getting kills here as well. It's an absolute bloodbath, and just 2 players for NiP remaining. GetRight exists, and GetRight does manage to find 1, gives his position away. And I would assume that means just get towards outside. We know GetRight's there, going to be 1 player just outside, potentially just with a fam as well. It's just going for the face. Punished as well, of course. And now they know exactly where GetRight is. He hasn't got a kit. He's low HP. It's going to be 15 rounds to NaVi.
Yeah, it's going to be 15, and it's looking very good here for NaVi to close out this first map despite the near perfect start for NiP. 10 rounds. Remember, 10 rounds means that they've only succeeded in picking up 3 rounds here on their CT side NiP. CT side of Train.
This is the thing, right?
But this is a nightmare map if you're CT as well. Just like the ability now with that extra 10 seconds to just run down this clock. You never really have to deal with nades if you're NaVi, because by the time you decide to push onto a site, NiP, they hardly have anything left to stop you with.
Especially if you're controlling the money, like they have been in the last 6 rounds or so. They haven't got really much to work with, and they're playing it perfectly. This fits in with the NaVi playstyle so well. So GetRight needs to stay alive here to have anything to work with, and he actually has a lovely shot there onto Seized to stay alive and take his weapon into potentially the last round. We can see, like I said, NiP will have maximum loss bonus, but on the CT side, that doesn't really mean that much. $3,400 across the board means you have Famises, maybe some Scouts, Max 7s, you can have that. The fact GetRight has an AK boosts their chances going forward, but a very difficult prospect. There it is. A Scout on Forest, a couple of Famises, and an M4. I've got smoke grenades and an incendiary, but this has just been another case of NaVi just to slow it down. We've got the Orbs, they've got a Scout. Let's just see what we can do with this. Guardian, go for that main phase, seeing if we can see anyone towards E-Box and coming out of main, but got to find the first kill regardless. He takes down Forrest.
And that was identical to what happened several rounds ago when he last peeked into A main. Boom, Forrest is just out in the open, and Guardian, he's way too quick for that. Forrest not able to react in time. So now this is nightmare fuel here for NiP basically. I mean, what do? You just haven't been able to get any kind of control going on the CT side. And NiP now just down a man, trying to hold on here on the A site. I mean, they do take a risk by putting Python to A main. That's something, but NaVi aren't going to be like really pushing anywhere.
I feel like more has to be done, Sevla. Unfortunately, him sitting there, it's a very checked position. It's not like he's going to have the drop on NaVi just sat there, right? So you can see Freiberg trying to bait him in a little bit and hold that angle and see if they can do something with it. But NaVi just so patient here. They're spreading out across the map, seeing what's available. The bomb's not even picked up. That's still towards T-spawn. So you feel like the CTs, they're going to have to do something more with this soon. They need to say, right, we need to have some intel here. The full outside execute coming in as well.
Yeah.
This is this hellish, and we've still got Zeus towards inside patrolling that area as well. They've got everything on lockdown right now.
And GetRight's trying to gamble. He's holding far back on Link on that inner side, so he will be able to rotate over fairly quickly here when the execute decides to come in. Now it's all about positioning, and well, they do have a little bit of a solid position. Just the element of surprise isn't even there. Where the hell? What happened to Freiberg? I guess he got flashed out. So Flavy with the double entry kill onto this A site, and just like that, NiP, they're getting picked apart. Guardian lays gate right low, and now it is just going to be the inner push after all. So NaVi are not really able to achieve, well, no, never mind. NiP not really able to achieve much whatsoever.
Well, there it is.
NaVi, they achieved everything. They got the win.
That's kind of heartbreaking for NiP, right? We talked about that 10-5 coming into it. They're looking so strong. They lost the pistol, and they still came back with 7 rounds in a row on their T side. They controlled the economy so well, right? And then it was that second round force buy for me on the CT side.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, that's when when you're in that sort of position, you know you're the weaker team here for sure going forward. You just go with that first gun run. You need everything to play for. You need to have the full buy, the kits. They lose that round. It was a difficult first gun round for them, and then it just started getting a little bit out of control. So,
well, out of control. Yeah. Then we just really started to see the mastery, I think, of NaVi on this T side of Train.
Yeah.
They are still so scary. Probably one of the best teams, if not the best team on T side Train right now.
yeah.
They're a real thing to fear. And, well, it's not over yet. We got more at NiP NaVi coming up next. So, guys, we're going to have a short break. When we come back, we'll have that match to bring to you.